Man, sorry, I'll just keep going. Number four. Now, what do you think about the movie's visual effects? Now, I think this is the time we wanted to talk about the imagery of the contrasting hodgepodge, if you will, of Princess Peach in a pink dress, Bowser, Mario. Is this the time when you were thinking about me taking the pin out of that item, or the bit later?
Yeah, it was actually number five. Good job of
Ah,
incorporating elements,
okay.
but visually, did you think that it looked good?
Okay. Well, I think it looked perfect, actually. Yeah, I what I like about it is that of course you have Mario with the I think the distressed jeans. There's detail, bless you. Um, yeah, there's detail in his jeans, of course, to make I like the way that they differentiated the movie Mario and the latest Mario on the Switch. So Mario on the Switch, of course, in Luigi's Mansion, you've got the detail, the you can even see the threads in the jeans. I was like, damn, that's awesome. But
Hmm.
still, that's not what you get in the movie. The movie is somehow a step beyond that, and it feels more like the world that they were in the real world, well, supposedly our world, is a lot more I don't want to say well with worn. That is to say, you can see this is a he has the clothes of a working man. In the game, Mario's it looks like he's wearing a costume.
Hmm.
And whereas when it comes to the movie, Mario's outfit was, and even the family that he was a part of, Brooklyn. I like the fact that they make sure they stress that they're Italian American, not just Italians, of course, which most gamers know. But um, that I just got a sense of Brooklyn when I was looking at that, and even movie Brooklyn. Like what movie is it? Godzilla? No, I know there's a movie I saw. Brooklyn and the Mario movies, I can't remember the name of it, but the Mario movie made me think of the actual place. Maybe I'm thinking about the original Mario movie, I'm not sure. But then when it comes to the gaming world,
Hmm.
it was great because it felt like, again, even Rainbow Road, it felt more like an actual road as opposed to just a splash of color. So I like the fact that there's just these little touches that made it feel more like a world that
Interconnected.
yeah, that a world that people actually lived in, as opposed
Hmm.
to a dream that you woke up in one day and wow, it's like it's not like an arcade. You're walking into an arcade full of colors. It feels like an actual world. If you know what I'm saying, what do you think?
I thought visually, as I said before, it was a smart move to go with illumination. They do big, beautiful, colorful worlds well, and Mario the movie is colorful. It is bright and vibrant. The colors pop off the screen, and if you can see it, I recommend seeing it in IMAX. It really does warrant that kind of big ass screen.
Yes.
Um, but you're right, actually. You are absolutely right. All these fantastical elements that you would just wave away as, oh, it's a gameplay thing. They have like a real world utilitarianism, the pipes and the platforms in the Mushroom Kingdom just being normal transportation, like the bus. Oh my god, I thought that was such a well crafted moment. And Mario's walking around going, "What the hell's going on?" And everyone's like, "Ugh, tourists," you know.
Exactly. Yeah, you understand?
And it Bowser's Kingdom being just like a rock metal dystopia feels in keeping with him. He feels like he's a big ass turtle king, but I don't think he's old. I see a teenager, kind of rebellious.
Good point.
You know, he's a kid who was brought up in a dump and had to fight. Was told you got to fight for what you want, and he fights really, really well. In fact, he made himself the toughest, baddest guy around,
Mm,
and he's basically the head of a biker gang in my mind. He's got that biker gang energy.
mm.
Um, but everything works really, really well. All the different elements, all the different visuals, they look great. And the difference of the vibrancy between the Mushroom Kingdom, the dark shadows in the about Koopa's Kingdom. In Koopa's Kingdom, nothing's lit by light. Everything's by torch. Everything's underlit. So there are always stark shadows on everything. On the Mushroom Kingdom, everything's very brightly lit, it's overly saturated in color.
Mm.
But the regular world, Brooklyn, feels like a happy medium. It just feels great and normal. You know, there
Mm.
are lots of signs and lots of stuff happening. It feels like a lived-in place. Like there's all these little touches. No, like when the Cooper first attacks, and then Luigi jumps into a dumpster and to hide. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that works because he spotted it, he recognized it, and he went there. Visually, they worked very, very hard to give each of the worlds or different territories a coherent art style or a coherent flair to their own. So they all look slightly different, but they're all in keeping with the physics, the logic of this world.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it works really well.
Absolutely. Well, and then there's okay, so then there's number five. Did the movie do a good job incorporating elements from the Super Mario Brothers games? So
Okay,
the
here we're going to pull out this pin
mm,
and let's address the elephant in the room. Cooper wants to marry Peach.
yes, we're like, huh? Now, of course, we
Uh,
that means that if you think about it, she's been in wedding dresses and or something of the sort in the gaming world. And he was always kidnapping her. I mean, I take it unless he's got some insatiable appetite for uh non what's the word? And a wedlock.
Peach flesh.
Yeah, maybe we should call it that. It's-
Well, Odyssey made this explicit. Odyssey had him try to marry her.
mm,
And it's not the first time that this has been addressed, you know, in different mediums in the Super Mario comic books, you know. But in the comic books of the Super Mario 3, where he has his 7 children, it's established very early that he adopted these kids. They are not his biological kids. He adopted them, and he's kidnapping Peach to be a mother figure. He intends to marry her, and he wants her to be his wife and their mother. That's the goal of Super Mario 3.
wow, I
And
didn't
you know,
know that.
in Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube,
Mm,
he lies. Cooper lies to his biological son, Cooper Jr., and says, "Peach is your mother." So you know this undercurrent of Cooper not kidnapping her for political gain, but for personal emotional connection. It's well established, you know. It's not coming out of left field. It's just so explicitly pointed to, and that's where he felt. That's why I got the big teenage energy from. Like
yeah, I see what you're
here's a
saying now.
bruiser who gets everything he wants. He's a spoilt brat.
Mm,
He was like, you know, I want this. I want this. We're gonna do this, and if we don't, I'm gonna destroy her.
tyrant.
And yeah, I'm like, where's your parents? Oh, you don't have any. So there's
Yeah,
no one to hold you back.
yeah, for sure. Damn. You know what? If you think about it, let me see. If I had to take all the little bits and pieces that they retconned, albeit, I mean, if you bring in Donkey Kong, I mean, here's me when I was thinking about Shigeru being involved in this movie and trying to um put a stamp on it and make his presence felt. You know, with the whole thing about him apparently, according to Guru Larry, I'm having issues with Rareware and how they reimagined Donkey Kong at certain points. For a second, I was wondering if when Peach was going to go to Donkey Kong's kingdom, if Donkey Kong was going to express some sort of interest in her, you know, with the whole
Mm.
King Kong thing that Mario's based on in the first place as Jumpman. But here we go. Here we have Bowser now, and like you said, marriage is not just like with King Kong, marriage is not necessarily about something sexual necessarily.
Hmm.
It could just be like as traditionally was, you know, just a contract. Your role is to be my wife, and you're mine, and so on. And who knows? Maybe he does have sordid intentions. But that being said, I gotta say that was a I, that was a very very big elephant room that made us laugh. And I gotta say, I haven't reacted to the Peaches music video yet from Bowser. I want to check that out, but Peaches, 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 that was cracking me up. Especially with
Yeah,
Peach doing those expressions in the background. But let me think about that.
exactly. Like I say, just a little point. Having someone as musically gifted and as talented as Jack Black is, because despite his bombastic and crazy, persona, he's a very talented, musician, writer, creator. And having that song be such trash, be so poor, like just him repeating peaches, 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 peaches. in such a cringy kind of adolescent way. I'm like, oh God, you got Mozart to do a no, to choreograph you a elevator jingle. What's wrong with you? You know, and then he plays the dungeon theme when he's talking to Kamek, and I'm like, yeah, where's this? Where's this level of quality? And then he's playing the music perfectly in keeping with the scene, and you're like, he can do this. He has the musical talent, but he just doesn't care.
I think the whole thing about movies like this, especially with Jack Black and using a voice that, like you said, he can do, but not maybe a lot of people don't associate with him. The kind of voice I'm sure a lot of people, if they were to hear that Jet Black was Bowser. Some people don't know about his musical background may say,
Mm.
"Oh, this voice is a bit." I mean, they know Poe from Kung Fu Panda and so on, and but even if he was doing a deep voice, one would imagine that his voice would be like a person with a high voice trying to pull down, but he's it's very basic. And then but when he's singing Peaches, of course, like it's very. I think the whole thing was tongue in cheek with the whole way that he was downplaying what he could do. There's a lot, even when he's playing the piano. I think it says Ludwig von Cooper on the keyboard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on even on the Ludwig
yeah,
von Cooper is the name of one of his kids from
yeah,
Super Mario 3, and
yeah,
it's a nice touch. So
exactly. So
it's
they knew they knew that they could expand. I think the movie, just like you're saying earlier, with how you could even utilize Toad more as a sidekick. There's so many things that the movie could expand on going forward, but I think they, in a tongue-in-cheek way, deliberately lift things off. Who knows? Maybe it's bait for the critics, and
maybe it's just
now,
foreshadowing. You know, like in the first Avengers, you had to get this franchise off the ground. The first one had to knock it out the park. So you don't want to make it too esoteric. You don't want to go too deep in the lore. You want to make it accessible enough that everyone can watch it and enjoy it, make your money, then expand, and then you could blow it out and have multiple films where, you know, based on different games where you have these references, you have these characters. I can see the seven Koopalings or even Cooper Jr. appearing as villains in later films.
boy, oh boy. I mean, it's funny they say this is Nintendo's first movie. I mean, there've been a lot of Pokemon movies. I mean, but this,
Yeah,
what's the difference?
but the Pokemon Company didn't make them. They were hired out to companies that worked alongside them. So
Uh,
Game Freak did not make the movies. A movie studio made the movies in conjunction with Game Freak. Is the difference between pre and post Avengers Marvel.
right, Marvel
Before
Studios and
Marvel Studios, before they brought the films in-house and they made them themselves, they rented the IP to other companies who would make the films. Some great, some not so great. But it's the same with before, is that all these companies would take the IP and make a film, but the rights to the creativity of that were in the hands of the movie maker, not the game company. Now, Nintendo has its own film studio, so they have more of a hand, a direct hand in the creation of the films.
yeah, I see. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to what they have next. I'm speaking of which, I guess is a nice segue into our next